Right, welcome back to the Vinyl Collective. Episode 20, John. We made it quite far. Your weekly journal on the hip hop and R&B landscape. I am your host, Topper.
And I'm your co-host, John. Yeah,
Welcome.
episode 20. We keep
Yeah, man.
talking every week about 18 coming of age, 20,
Yeah,
19.
feels so old
Um,
now, but yeah, I can't
yeah,
believe it's in 20 weeks, man. Yeah. First of all, I actually want to start off nicely and then let me give a shout out to you guys. It's been 20 odd weeks I was doing this. So many listeners along the way, like, gosh, like, got 50 odd subscribers on Spotify, 17 countries, like, yeah, it's going pretty well. So yeah, shout out to you guys. If you haven't already, you might be new here. You might be like, you might look at the title of the episode. Don't know what the fuck's going to be yet, but we something interesting. And you might be like, okay, well, who are these guys? Subscribe to the Vinyl Collective, on Spotify if you're a smart man. On Apple Music, if you're just a bit, lagging a bit behind, you'll get there one day.
but shout out the
You do.
40% of listeners that are
Yeah.
on Apple,
Shout out to 40%
because
of
we love you
listeners. Shout out
guys.
to our Eastern European fans as well. John mentioned that
Yep.
a few weeks ago. But yeah, shout out to you guys. Yeah, also follow us on the socials, CBC Pod on Twitter, Final Collective Pod on Instagram. And yeah, hope you enjoy your stay. So let's just get right
Yeah,
into it. There's a lot of shit to go through. There
let's
is a
jump
lot
in.
of shit to go through. So I'm gonna continue on. You guys know my Futurama stuff. Continuing on, I'm
Here we go.
season 9 of 10. Season 9 of 10. So almost done. Almost completed my journey into my childhood, essentially. But yeah, there was one episode, right? I think it's a very interesting episode where obviously Fry, one of the main characters in the show, he's from the year 2000, right? And Fry caught the common cold, but he is a man from the year 2000 in the year 3000, and the common cold does not exist in the year 3000, does it? So it's actually really dangerous when he got ill because he has a virus that no one else has. It could wipe out the population. It could, fill up the beds. People had to quarantine and all that. So that's exactly what happened. They had to quarantine the whole of New York because Fry caught the common cold. Um, so what happened was Bender was like, "Fuck that." He's not going to stay. And then he transmitted this to everyone. And this, long story short, the solution was they unearthed New York and they were going to ship it to the sun and just burn everyone in New York. And I was like, fucking hell, like,
Which is probably something that our government has thought about doing.
exactly. It's like, it's like looking into the future and it's like, what's fucking dystopian? Like,
Yeah.
and this obviously episode came out like a good 10 odd years ago. It's like,
It's like what
fucking hell.
Simpsons do.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's scary. Every couple of years, like there's some kind of major world event. You're like, Simpsons said that would happen in 1994.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
what?
But this one was just so weird because they were talking about like, oh, there's no vaccine we can get. There's no vaccine can exist. I'm like, it's like so fucking relevant, mate. But you know, as well, I was also thinking about things that need to be quickly quarantined, packaged, and sent to the sun to disintegrate. And one of the first things that came to my mind was the new Meek Mill song, featuring Lil Baby, Kobe. Have you heard of this song, John?
Oh, I've heard of the song. I have not listened to it yet. I
Okay.
mean, I've kind of followed the narrative around it, but give us your thoughts on what it sounded
Okay,
like.
cool. Quick context, right? So Meek Mill and Lil Baby had a unreleased song, but good thing, we caught that early. Good job on us. A song called Kobe, and
Sorry, I don't understand.
oh, my fucking Google Nest. I'm not taking that out. Fuck my Google Nest. But yeah. So yeah. So the line goes, "If I ever lack, I'm going out my chopper. It be another Kobe." And it's like, I mean, you can call it whatever you want, and there's a lot of discussions around that. But me personally, I'll kick off and I'll give my thoughts. Bit insensitive, mate. Like it's only been like a fresh year, like barely a year since this man's died, and I don't think that's the like. There's certain lines in rap where it's like, oh, that was a bit risque, but it's just so fucking like it's so
It
smart.
works or something.
Yeah, it
Like
worked.
it
But
made sense.
but
I read the lyrics and was
yeah.
like, it's so out of place. Like you
Yeah.
didn't need to, you were like trying so hard to get that lyric in there.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
they titled the
insensitive.
song first before anything else.
It's also like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, it was a year anniversary, and like everyone was
Yeah.
posting about it. And he's got the song in the locker, and he's like, "Yeah, like let's release it." What?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know what's going on. Like, who thought? Oh, it's like this is why we always talk about studio time. It's studio scenario number 432. who is saying no? Like who? Like are you? Is the producers nodding his head like, yeah, man, yeah, bro, that's fire, dog. Also,
Yeah, some
it's
fire.
going
Yeah,
there.
keep spitting.
Yeah, like what is this? I'm going out with my chopper. It'll be another Kobe. What does that? What does that mean? Does that mean you're
It's
gonna
not
be
even a
set on
clever play on
fire?
words. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense. Also, yeah. So, I mean, some more context. Obviously, Vanessa Bryant,
Oh yeah,
Kobe's
she was not.
widow, she responded to it on Instagram in a pretty funny, classy way. Said that she wasn't familiar with Meek Mill's music. Obviously, she is, but it's just a funny response.
It's
I mean,
so
I assume
funny.
she is.
Yeah.
And yeah, if he wanted to kind of memorialize him or kind of appreciate him, there were a lot of other ways he could do that, and a lot of more. What was it like? More intelligent or like
Yeah.
funnier ways she
He
could
said,
have
it's basically said,
done that.
I don't know you, but you're better than that. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's like the
It's
biggest
like I'm sure he can
difference.
come up with something better than that. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what it is? It reminds me of that Kiki Palmer meme where she's like, I don't know who this man is. You'd be walking across the street and wouldn't know a thing.
Yeah,
Sorry
wouldn't
to
know.
that man. It's like that. It's like it's just so shady. But it's like, you know, he knew what was like. I don't know why he thought that was. You know what it is? You know what it is? He's probably because he's on a song with Lil Baby, so he's thinking, oh, no one's gonna look at the lyrics to this. Like, who the fuck looks at the lyrics to a Lil Baby song? And then that one guy, that one intent guy, was like, what, Kobe? And then he probably thought it was like a fire bar. I mean, he read it. It's like, that is not fire. Like, what's going on? And then, you know,
And then obviously
is what it
Meek
is.
kind of was like indirecting her response on it on Twitter, kind of saying, you know, like, oh, he's just gonna like come back and do what he's doing. Or it's something kind of weird, like he's just going to keep doing what he's doing, or he's going to respond to it. But then in the end, he kind of said he had privately apologized or something.
See, that's fucking stupid, isn't it? Like, you don't need
Because you've been sitting on this song. That's what makes it even worse. You've had such a long time to like mull it over, and you've released it and then been like, oh yeah, sorry. Like, did you think this wasn't going to be picked up?
I don't know. Like, wait, is it him featuring Lil Baby, or is it Lil Baby featuring him? Whose song is this?
I'm gonna say it's Little Baby's song, but that's a guess.
That's the thing. I hope so. Let's find out.
It is a Little Baby's. No, I don't know.
That's the thing. We don't.
What's
I think
the
it's just
song
a
called?
joint. Kobe. It's called. It's called Kobe. I think it's unreleased, right? So who knows whose song it is? But yeah, the point is, Meek Mill. Yeah, he is. I think anyone who's followed Meek Mill on Twitter knows he's a bit of a man child. Like he's one of those artists that like, it hasn't really clicked for him that he's famous, and the things you tweet are just going to be looked at in a different way because people kind of expect you to be above that shit. So, but in these cases, even if you're famous or not, you just take the L. You're like, you know what?
Yeah.
There's just a lot of energy in the studio. We weren't really thinking, fuck it, you know, apologize. But you can't double down on shit like that. Like it's the man's widowed wife. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what's going on? But yeah, not much I'll say.
And I mean, to quote 50 Cent, he's really not that bright.
Yeah, he said that in
He
2016.
warned us 5 years ago. He warned us 5 years ago. He's really not that bright.
He's not. I mean, Meek Mill's had some weird pictures. You know when he said, I think there was a picture of him playing checkers, not chess, and the king was in the wrong position. Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, the king was like.
Yeah,
There's the weird video of him with like in
The
was
chips
it
in
him in his car with the kids.
Yeah. He's had so many weird pictures. The one I was referencing was the one where he's by the pool and he had like chips on his thigh. And you keep on saying the world hasn't been the same since this happened. But why the fuck are you by a swimming pool with chips on your thigh? Like, why did you post that? Like, that doesn't look intentional. It's like an accident. Like, what's going on? Oh yeah, he's a strange lad, man. He's a strange lad.
He is. I'm gonna switch it up and head to something that I think we both probably have a lot to say about.
Okay.
It's an album by Ghetts, Conflict of Interest. We've seen a lot. We've seen a lot posted about it. We've seen a lot of opinions, a lot of jumping the gun, proclamations, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I mean it's looking like it's heading on its way to number one. I think there was a big push from a lot of people on social media to like get it to number one, which it will. Quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, big accomplishment.
First thoughts, Tope.
Okay.
Takes it
You
away.
want to do it? Okay, cool.
Yeah, you thought I was gonna go. No.
Yeah.
I wanna hear you.
He's trying to bait me, lads. You don't know the tricks John does now. You know, you see it. You see the game. But yeah, obviously, Ghetts Conflict of Interest. His first major label release. I didn't know that because obviously I had my ears to the streets when Ghetto Gospel 2 dropped because a couple of people I followed were like really hype on that. So I guess kind of the build up to this record is not too surprising. But yeah, so I think obviously with the major label release, he's kind of been like teasing this album for a long time now.
Yeah.
I think
like
Warner
singles.
yeah, all these like little like billboards stuff like that. I think Warner done a good job of like promoting this album quite well. Because obviously Ghetts is someone who's been around for literally maybe 17 years plus. Like he's been around for a very long time. So
a veteran.
Yeah, he's literally a veteran. So I'm not so you know I'm kind of for him to kind of garner this much hype, it's got to be like label. You got to give some credit to the label for that. But yeah, if he gets number one, super happy for him, innit? Super happy for him. You know, I like the trend of, because when it comes to any branch of any denomination of hip hop, that is, you know, kind of what moves the culture nowadays. So it's now when I see all these guys getting number one, yeah, fair enough. Some of them are definitely probably like machine oriented, and you know, someone's just weaning the album on loops, but it's a long time coming, right? Like some of these guys deserve to get number one, and like some of these guys deserve to be winning Mercury Prize and stuff like that. It's been a long time coming because everyone's kind of known of these songs. You know, it's not like rap. It's not like UK rap became famous yesterday. We all knew who the fuck Tiny Temple was. We all knew who Tinchy Strider was. Like, so yeah, I'm happy about that. But we're here to talk about the music, aren't we, John? We are always here to talk about the music. All that other outside stuff doesn't really matter too much. So, conflict of interest. Like we said before, 16 tracks, 6 of them are just him. 6 of them. Initial thoughts, because you know that's what we do here. But I know I feel like we're gonna spend quite a bit of time on this. But yeah, so I've listened to the album quite a bit over the last week or so. So obviously it came on Friday, been winning it since. General thoughts, it's a good album. It's a good album. The first, I say 5 or 6 tracks are really good. Like really good.
Really good.
Yeah, like the way, and one thing I always say, like not always say, but one thing I will say actually just here, when it comes to when people drop singles and then they have like an album version, I'm a huge fan of that because then the song doesn't get stale. Because sometimes, you know, like if Kendrick Lamar drops Humble and then you hear it in Damn, it's automatically your favorite song because you're just more comfortable with it. But the way he's kind of like edited some of these songs, so it's like it kind of ties into the whole album like listening experience. I'm a big fan of that. So obviously Mozambique, I wasn't a huge fan of that actually. I know people will get into that. I didn't like it as much as a single version, but that little like monologue spoken word he did at the start of it
at the beginning
was incredible. Like I'm a huge fan of this. So yeah, some of the transitions of the first 5-6 songs, like Fine Wine, great song, Mozambique, amazing, Fire and Brimstone. That Dizzy Rascal sample, fucking amazing.
As soon as it came on at the beginning, I was like, yeah, we're gonna be getting a good one here.
Yeah, like it's so good. Hop Out, of course. Like talk about, I'm a fan of cars, innit? So he's talking about RX3s and MX5s. I'm like, yeah, man, I know all of that. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm a big fan. Obviously, IC3 is good. Autobiography, really good. Like, kind of just, you know, I like when rappers kind of say the timestamp and they reference it in the rap. I always like when they do that. It's a little touch, but yeah, really good song. But however, we had our reservations, and I think some of them did come to be with this album. So obviously, Ghetts is singing on this song. We have Ed Sheeran on the album track list.
Yeah, I'm going to take over here because Tope's very aware that, you know, John's kind of getting this image of the nice guy in the podcast and Tope's the bad guy. So yeah, no, I think we said when we saw the track list, the Ed Sheeran one was a bit of a worry. Yes. Whether it would kind of stand out as like different, just completely stand out from the flow of the album. I think it's kind of yes. So here's the thing we were saying, that like 6-7 track run at the beginning, amazing. 3 or 4 of them superb. Yeah. Like 3 or 4 of them like incredible tracks. Yeah. But there are a few not so great tracks. A few that, like, if I listened to this album again, I probably would skip them.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And that's the Ed Sheeran one. Yeah, 10,000 Tears wasn't a huge fan. Skengman did not enjoy as much.
Oh, okay. Damn, disagree, but keep going.
Do you?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah,
I think
didn't enjoy
Stormzy
that track that
killed
much.
it, right? Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Stormzy killed it. Like he was amazing.
And yeah, okay. I love Parcelou.
Parcelou, go on. You got it right.
Parcelou. I got it right. Him and Backroad G.
Yeah.
Great. Just coming off of like last year, like Frontline, all of those great tracks off his yeah.
There you go,
Oh boy.
Come on, John.
But yeah, I felt like the feature it wasn't as good as it could have been. I think like he had such a small snippet on the end of the song. It was like 30 seconds tops.
Oh, Backroad G.
No pun intended. No, who sang last one? It was Parcelou had.
No, Parcelou went first.
Did he? So it was Backroad G that had the 30 seconds. Then at the end, I was like, felt like he could have done with a bit more time.
Do you need how much of Backroad G do you need to listen to though? He's literally like UK ODB right now, isn't he? I don't think you need to listen to like a whole.
I don't know.
32 bars.
I liked his voice on the track though, so that's why I would have wanted a bit more. Like it made like the feature makes sense and it works, but I just would like to arrange it a little bit differently.
Fair.
What did you not like about it?
Oh, what? No Mercy. The hook is just a bit too different for me. The do do do, like I know I get it, it's different, but I don't know. I can't say I'm like, yeah, that's amazing, man. I can't like my spirit just can't like say that. Like I actually
can't imagine someone going into the studio, like grabbing the mic and going, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, this is the person being famous, right? Because if I did that, John, if I went to the studio and I was like, no motherfucking mercy, do, everyone will say, mate, this guy
get this guy out of here.
We're never making it out of the hood, man. Like this guy's shit, but because he's Ghetts it, he's just gonna get away with it. It's kind of like when Future did La Di Da Di Da Slava Midnight. Remember that on what song is it? But you know that song, the Kendrick one, the Black Panther one. Yeah. Yes. So I think there's songs like that when like I can't say I'm fully riding with it. Like so I think my main gripe with this record is the middle part. I feel like you could have condensed the ideas of Good Hearts, Dead to Me, 10,000 Tears, Sonia. We got like 5 slow songs in a row, fam. Like the Good Hearts, the Proud Family is all just like super towed down. And maybe that's like the Justin part of his like 3-part, personalities here, which is fair, innit? But you literally got like 3 songs literally about love. And I think kind of the same relationship. And obviously, like, it's a nice touch having like ZZ Mills on some of these skits. So I thought it was kind of funny. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like the idea could have been tense down. I mean, I guess in the end, he's kind of like bringing it back to near the start of the album with songs like Crud and Squeeze. And it's like, I don't think it added more than what you did on the first 6. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think Fire and Brimstone was great. I think Hop Out was great. I felt like I already knew you were a gunman. I already knew you were on that shit. So I don't think I needed Crud. Yeah, I don't think I need Crud and Squeeze. That's the thing. But when you're doing 16 fucking tracks and like 70 minutes of material,
you've got to have different emotions or like parts of your life you're bringing to it, especially if it's such a concept album like this. You can't really have more than 2 tracks talking about the same thing.
Yes, exactly. Like,
because people love pointing out that this is a concept album.
God.
No, I'm just leaving it at that. I do, and I love a concept album.
But yeah, I mean, similar as always, we have our people, not the public, the fans, innit? Basically, already having discussions of whether or not this will go down as a classic. And I have had it up to, obviously you all can't see me, but up to here. Just above you can tell.
He's had enough.
It's high enough. Like, why do we always have to do this, lads? And I know someone out there's gonna be like, oh, come on, Tops, just let people enjoy things. That's not the problem. One, obviously, we have a fucking music podcast, so we care about the discussions of music quite a bit because we've done 20 fucking odd episodes of this, so it's important to us. But the problem is, I don't like how it's, especially when it's like an artist that's kind of dropped, and people are somewhat emotionally invested in that artist, whether it's because they're from the same area as them, they look like them, whatever it may be. Do you know what I mean? They like their story, whatever. It's like, I just have to ride for you no matter what. Even, do you know what I mean? I just have this unshakable, like, everything you do, I love. It can't just be like, oh, I like some parts. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, I can like, the Manchester City squad, right? I can think Foden's a great prospect. I can think, Raheem Sterling. Foden. I got one wrong. I got one wrong. Foden.
Yeah.
No, I can think Sterling's like a great striker. I think KDB is one of the best midfielders to ever do it. I'm not gonna go out on my limb and say, and Mahrez too. He's one of the best. Like, I'm not gonna do that. Like, you can just be like, overall, this is nice, but there are some parts that aren't as great as others. But no, like, especially when it comes to initial thoughts about a record. So when it's all good, no one ever questions that. If I think the album's amazing, my whole thought on the album was well thought out. I knew exactly what I was talking about. If I judge an album that just came out, that everyone likes, it's like, how could you even say that? It just came out. Even both are wrong, mate. That's the whole fucking point, isn't it? Like, it's just annoying. Like, it's like, you know what it is? I am going on the run, and I'm not stopping. But, like, it just feels like you have to suck the whole length of an artist's dick, or you're just a hater. If you don't do that, you're just a hater. Like, it can't just be like, I kind of like it.
It's safer to join the public opinion of it's a 10 out of 10 than to say, yeah, it was alright. I didn't like this or that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. There's not a safe space in the first few weeks to say that you didn't like an album that is publicly well received.
Yeah, like, you just have to kind of hide in the shadows. Like, you can't just be like, yep, 10 out. If you say, yep, 10 out of 10 record, it's like, sorry, excuse me, didn't Slow Tie just come out like a week prior and everyone was talking that was going to be the fucking album of the year? Like, why do we keep doing this? We keep falling into the trap. It's like...
Friday before that.
There you go.
3P.
There you go. They literally did a 3P back to back, like fucking 2000 Lakers, mate. Like, I don't get why this just keeps on happening. It doesn't...
It's February the 24th.
It doesn't have to be this way as well. It's not like you have to just listen to what your heart tells you. Like, for example, if I lived in Streatham, right, and I had friends who knew Dave, or maybe Dave went to my school, I'll be invested in him doing well, and that's a whole different thing. I hope Ghetts does fantastically. I hope he gets number 1. That doesn't mean I need to like every fucking song. I just feel like, oh, I can buy a record and I don't like every song. That's just support of an artist, right? And I think people think they're doing the artist a service by saying everything's perfect, but you're not, because that's also an indicator that you're not fucking listening. So you mean to tell me, right, that someone who's made an album for the best part of a couple years, put every single, live instrumentation for all these intrinsic lines that you probably haven't caught up yet, just for you to listen to it once and be like, it's the best thing in the world, mate. Like, yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, just give it time.
Shout out to the, like you mentioned, the
our production's really good in this one.
The production, excellent on this, excellent. Like, what I loved, and I think people out there will relate to this, about Big Conspiracy last year with the strings, and that's what I love about Little Sims' music as well. Is like the use of strings in UK hip hop is incredible. Like the strings and like the brass instruments. Like, especially the production on that 3P of songs. I think it was Fire Brimstone, Hop Out, and
I See Free.
What's the song after that? I See Free.
Yeah.
Is I've never heard of him before. He's called
I thought you were gonna say Skepta.
Something Billionaire.
I was like the producer. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
His name? Something Billionaire.
Okay.
But yeah, amazing production.
Yeah. Good, and a very smart like sampling as well, because obviously the UK people are getting sampling money now, and I think the way Nines did it last year, it was good, it wasn't bad, but this is definitely better. Like, again, I think there's not many samples on here, but the We Don't Care sample, what if it, the Dizzy Rascal one, it's like, that is just such a good touch. Like, I think you don't really get UK rappers sampling UK rappers like that. It's just not a thing. So
10 Billion Dreams, that was his name.
Oh, okay.
Shout out producer. Don't know much about him, so if people do, let us know.
Yeah. No, shout out to him. Like, obviously, it's a well crafted album. And I can respect the time you put into it. I'm not gonna act like I need to like every single song. I don't. There's some songs I really like, and I'll take those away, and I'll be like, yeah, this is really good. It might even be like a top 5 UK album this year. That's fair. I think that's a fair statement to make. But let these things simmer. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to call it. You're like, no one's gonna refer to your tweet and be like, yeah, mate. You know, when John said that, I just knew he was onto something. I just knew. I just knew. He just has the vision, mate. It's like, you don't have to do that.
Why are you going into a really British accent when you do that?
I don't know. But do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be that. You can just be like, oh, you know what? First thoughts I enjoy. We'll see how it like I feel about over the year. Because there's certain albums you feel like, oh my gosh, nothing is.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's like the honeymoon phase. You think nothing's gonna top this, mate. This is as good as it's gonna get. Like the feelings are just there. You never felt more alive. The music has never spoken to you more than it has in this moment. And then you rest for 3-4 weeks, and you're like, okay, maybe this song I'll skip here and there. And that's
you've got to listen to it in different situations.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
In the house, in the car, on a walk, in the garden, falling asleep. Like it's gonna affect you in different ways, and I think you're gonna catch things. Like this is the thing: 1 listen, 2 listens, you're not gonna catch all of the lines. You're not gonna be able to formulate a proper opinion. So I think that's the highlight message from John and Tope today is let it rest, let it settle, like a good steak. Just let it rest for a few minutes and then tuck in. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, it's true. Some people are ready just to go. It's like, no, if you want that perfect, searing, you gotta let it, sit for a bit. That's how it works.
It will still keep cooking. It's out of the pan, but it'll still keep cooking. Don't tuck in quite yet.
Ramsey, call me if you got our number. Moving on. So speaking of UK music, we also got our boy, very well respected here at the Vinyl Collective, J Hus. He says he is dropping an album this summer. Go on.
It is older than us both. It's 26 tracks.
Yeah. If he actually goes on, don't get me wrong, J Hus has said a lot of shit. I think if everyone remembers, like, leading up to his album, he was talking a lot of shit, which I don't, it seems, I'd say, what's the nice way of saying this? Seems enhanced
Concerning.
by other forces. I'd say that.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same case here. Like, don't get me wrong, just because J Hus has said it, doesn't mean the label are going to be like, yeah, it's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is like a serious fat double disc.
Because that's probably going to be a lot of like interludes and skits and carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, if he does drop an album this summer, I have very little faith in it being good, and I only say that to say I think I'm good at predicting these things. Like, when it comes to good albums, just take time. Like, it's very rare that someone could just write an album and it's just sick. Like, it is very, very, very rare. Like, even the best of the best don't do that often. Like, I can just write like 20 odd verses and they're all just fucking fire. And then I got the right feature for the right songs or the production just all makes sense. Like, it's not something that happens overnight. Especially mixing and mastering, that takes time as well. Obviously, for people who probably don't even give a fuck about J Hus on this podcast, obviously J Hus has dropped his album literally just over a year ago. Like, he's not a trap artist, do you know what I mean? Like, he's not that type of guy. He seems like a guy who thinks things out. So to have
that well thought out,
so to kind of come like under a year and a half later and drop an album, big concerns. Do you know what I mean? That makes you feel like something's going on. Wait, he's not under his label anymore, is he not? I don't think he is. I think he might be independent now. So maybe that might be the case here as why he feels like he needs to do this.
It's more, there's less kind of there are more yes men, less more enablers probably.
Less no men.
It's like exactly. It doesn't really work. But you know what I mean? Like, there's not
stepdad record label.
There are no hoops to jump through before you can release it.
Yeah, exactly. So alarm bells ringing for that. I don't know. What do you think?
I haven't really formulated an opinion too much about it. I think 26 tracks is a lot. And I think that's the only thing. 26 tracks in a year and a half. Like, you've got to think most of this has probably already been written and produced during lockdown.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's concerning, but we'll wait and we'll hold our opinions until it drops.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to new music from him, but I just didn't expect it to come so quickly.
Yeah, no, same. So, I mean, if it ends up being good, don't worry, I'll be the first to be like, this is fucking sick, mate. Oh, I love this. But if it's shit, I'll be like, oh, I told you guys. You know, I'm one of those guys. So, yeah. In other news, we have long-awaited Bobby Shmurda free from prison. He's out. Finally out.
He's out.
You know, it's not fake stories anymore. He's really out.
He's actually
and
out.
Last time he was out, gosh, we weren't even 20, John. Like he was locked up from like 2015.
We were in first year.
Yeah, exactly. So
damn.
Yeah, so
he's out. His Quavo went and picked him up.
Very random.
Very nice of him.
you know,
seen a lot of hilarious comments about the photo of him and another guy, and then like 3, I quote, Newcastle girls.
Yeah.
sorry to anyone from Newcastle.
It's funny.
We love you guys.
It does look like it does, doesn't it? But the thing is, it's just funny.
It's just a very random photo.
It is like when someone leaves prison, right? It's like, okay, cool. The first thing they want to do, you know, see their mum, maybe their dad, their siblings, cousins, aunties, nephews, nieces, all this stuff. You know, nah, fuck it. Let's get Quavo, mate. Like, what? Like, what's going on? Do you know what I mean? Quavo's who I need. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's going on? I've been gone for like half a decade. I need Quavo. That just sounds really strange to me. Like, but maybe this kind of formulates some sort of relationship. Whilst he was
maybe
locked down.
There's Migos and Shmurda music coming. Who knows?
I mean, yeah, I was going to answer you about that. Like, do you think his comeback will be successful, or do you think it's just people kind of riding high on the nostalgia?
I don't think it's just riding high on nostalgia. I feel like, I don't know, I think there have been like bits and pieces here and there that just make it sound like he's changed a fair amount, or that like he's matured in a sense. So
okay,
I don't know. I think I'm not what's the word? I'm not hugely skeptical. I think if he does release music, I don't think it'll be bad.
Okay, fair.
I'm like optimistic for him. I didn't really listen to a huge amount of his music anyway, but like I think I'm optimistic. Yeah, 6 years is a long time. How old is he now?
God, I can't. He must be slightly older than us now. I can't remember.
Yeah,
but
so what was he, like 19, 20 when he went in, probably?
Yeah, he was.
And he's now, what, 25, 26?
It's crazy.
That is a huge development.
Yeah, 26.
To have done that inside prison, he must have changed a huge amount.
But then sometimes people's mental age doesn't really grow because they're in prison, right? And I get what you're saying, right? But the thing is, like, if he kind of comes out and tries to drop like Bobby Bitch or Hot Nigga or stuff like that, I don't know if it's gonna work, because people can act like they want that music. It's not the times right now. Do you know what I mean? It's just not like, you're even young. Like, that's kind of like the Young MA type of troop. Do you know what I mean? And even Young MA is not like the most popping rap up right now. So that's the thing. I think he went in with a lot of potential. That doesn't mean that people are just gonna pick up right where he left off and be like, yep. We love you all the same. Like, I don't know if it's gonna work out that way, but I mean, hopefully, hopefully he's able to kind of sustain a career. Like,
there's a big following of him now, and like it's been like the top story for the last few days. And I think because early on in his like incarceration, there were like numbers of incidents and stuff, weren't there? Like brawls or like contraband, things like that. And that was, then you had like 3 years of like nothing. Like he was just in prison. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of suggests that something might have changed.
It's true, but then there was a video of him. There was a video of him like freestyling, I think, and he still seems to be on that ignorant shit. Obviously, as Brooklyn people do, spread love. It's the Brooklyn way. But I don't know. Like, we will have to see. But it'll be interesting to see what his first move will be, because obviously when he went in, he would. I think I'll be interested to see if he's still on the record label, because the record label completely fucked him over when he went inside, like, pretty badly. So we have to see how that goes, man. But I obviously hope for the best, but I'm more skeptic than you are. I think people will listen to the first single and then they realize, I'm not 19 anymore. I can't listen to this music anymore. I don't think that's how it's gonna go, unfortunately. But we have to see how it goes.
So we're here for it. But yeah,
any other news?
let's get into today's main topic.
Okay,
Any
cool.
other news before we do?
No, I think that's it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go
So
into
yeah,
it.
today, yeah, I'd like to talk about some like kind of the best like rap groups. I know. Obviously, most of the music we've done on here is about like solo artists. We haven't. I don't think
Yeah.
we've even had a review or anything yet, have we? About rap groups.
Nope, not a single one.
But when we make references, if you kind of look at our like spotlight, what was it? Our like Shazam playlist.
Yeah,
I feel
spot.
like there are a lot of like things dropped here and there, a bit of Outcast, bit of this and that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we look back, if we go all the way back to the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
what are some kind of like rap groups hip hop groups that can like stand out for you?
Okay, cool. Starting from the 90s and progressing to
Yeah,
now, right? Okay, cool.
yeah.
So obviously anyone who knows me, right? Like I am a huge fan of Tribe Called Quest. Like, and that's not just me being like trying to be like a hip hop head or a boomer. I legitimately just think
No,
their music's
yeah.
fucking fantastic. Like, for me, not even just 90s. I think they're probably all time best hip hop group for me. And I don't know. I found it very hard to find another group that kind of has done as well, like song for song, as they have. To be honest, so that's number one for me. Like literally, if you think about it, so many of their songs have been sampled by the hip hop community. Like every
Hmm.
single artist that
Yeah,
is relevant has probably sampled a Tribe song, even if they don't know it. Do you know what I mean? Even if they don't know it, like
yeah,
or even kind of interpolate some of their lines. So you got songs from like Midnight Marauders, like "Suck a Nigga," and then you got Jay-Z saying it in a song of Magna Carta, for example. Stuff
yeah.
like that. Do you know what I mean? Like they're everywhere. Like I think even Questlove said like a huge part of his influence in terms of roots was tribe music, tribe production. So
Mm.
they're just those guys. Number two would be Outcast. I don't have these in orders, but I think those two is like my
Yeah,
one and two,
yeah.
and everything else is like it's what it is. But Outcast is number two. Come on, like, come on. I think
You,
there's times where people get it wrong, and they got it wrong with
mm.
Outcast when they first came. Like that's the thing. I think everyone now is like, oh my gosh, how could you not love Outcast? But people got it wrong initially, and I think that was like probably one of the biggest like mistakes I think ever by fans, like ever. Like if it wasn't for Outcast. And I don't know. I think we do have to speak about metrics we use here, but I'm just going for like the songs, just song for song, right? But Outcast just have some of the most interesting music. Like
Hmm.
it's just so like it's not different for the sake of being different. It's different and it works. So like 80 Aliens and
Yeah.
Gemini, but even songs that everyone loves them for, like Roses,
Like
Miss
Hey
Jackson,
Ya,
yeah,
Jackson.
hey
Yeah,
y'all. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
they've just got the range. And one thing I will say about Outkast, just before we go, there's a lot of people in the 90s we could
Before
talk
you
about.
let me make the argument for them,
Yeah,
go
before
on.
you make me the argument, I'm going to spill. Like, people act like it's just like it was Andre 3000 and his mate. Like, don't get it
Mm-mm.
twisted. Big Boy can spit. Don't ever discredit my man. Like, Big Boy is a very confident rapper in this game. Like, he's definitely one of the GOATs. But people just act like it was just free stacks and, Big Boy was just there. Like, no. Especially in the earlier works. Like, he was definitely as relevant as Andre.
Yeah, no, I like 100% agree with what you're saying about like outcasts in the sense of like yeah, people don't appreciate Big Boy, like they don't appreciate the dynamic between the two of them. Like
Mm,
I think it's because and this is a pitfall I fall into,
go.
like, lyrics is like number one, like lyrics is
Okay,
king.
yeah.
So like obviously as Outcast is like the poet and Big Boy's the player, then they kind of see Big Boy's like role in the duo as somehow lesser.
Yeah.
But they just work so well together, and they're like the way they play off each other in so many of these songs
Incredible.
is just like top tier. So I think that's kind of what you're saying, right? Like people don't put enough respect. Shout out Birdman, respect on the name. People,
Yeah.
people don't respect Big Boy enough. But yeah, I've got them the other way around.
Okay.
Probably just because I've listened to Outcast a lot more than Tribe.
Okay, yeah.
And I think similar points as well. I have Outcast as kind of the best group of the 90s because of a kind of like the influence. Like
Yeah.
we talked about humor and hip hop the other week. Like
Yeah.
they're kind of like southern Southern like hip hop was so influential over like the whole next decade. Like so many artists look back and say, like Outcast, they were the ones that were like the innovators. They kind of like allowed us to experiment with flows, with styles, etc. So yeah, and I think another thing as well is like their ability to evolve. And I know that's what evolve and adapt. That's one of your favorite words, isn't it?
Yeah,
Adapt.
no, it's true. But
like
no, they did.
album to album, they kind of switched it up in terms of like style, like kind of instruments that were like at the foreground. So I know kind of like, what is it? The first one, Southern. I'm never going to be able to pronounce it. But Southern playalistic, Cadillistic music.
Yeah.
Cadilactic music. Yeah. Like they have a lot of like funk elements and like Southern guitar and kind of like soul melodies and stuff. And then you kind of move on and it's like more kind of, was it with like speaker box, which is probably their most, did that go
diamond? They went diamond.
Yeah. So that went diamond,
crazy,
and that was like kind of like elements of like gospel and like rock, like they
R&B,
had everything.
all that, crazy.
So that's probably why I got the number one. And Andre 3000, I cannot get enough of his voice.
Yeah, I mean they are an insane group. I can't lie. Like for me, it's like a 1A 1B type of scenario. Like if someone said Outcast are the best rap group of all time, I can't deny that. I can't, like, do you know what I mean? I'm not gonna fight my case. I'm like, oh, you know what? I can accept that. Do you know what I mean? It's a really close. Like, I'm not gonna act like Tribe is like well out in the race. But obviously with those two, I think it's like very clear. Like these were like some of the most defining people of their times. Like, and yeah, chemistry as well. I get what you mean. They're kind of like reinventing themselves. Because one thing, Tribe were always consistent to the memo. Like they're gonna give you some. They're gonna throw your life, little one liners about life advice here. They're gonna be funky. They're gonna be chill. Like, do you know what I mean? Whereas Outcast was like, we're not gonna do the same thing twice, and it was very intentional. Like they went from their Southern gangster shit to aliens to astrology,
Stankonia.
Stankonia. Do you know what I mean? Like all sorts. Like they just were very intentional of, we're not gonna just stay in this box. It's gonna keep. And the thing is, every time they did it, it was successful. So no, shout out to the guys, man. I mean, obviously there's other like bunch of groups in the 90s. I think other ones.
Before you move on,
go on.
Before you move on, like another point again, like you're saying, 1A 1B. The thing with Tribe is that we talked about influence, but like they, like if you talk about like the origin of like the originators of like jazz rap and stuff, like everything neo, everything like kind of left of R&B, left of hip hop is like influenced by a Tribe Called Quest. Like you can't have like a D'Angelo or like a even like kind of Erykah Badu and the like Far Side, De La Soul, Roots. That's all come from the style of music and kind of the path that Tribe Called Quest kind of set out.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, you've got to recognize all of these like all-time greats have come from.
Yeah, and in particular, obviously, a lot of people talk like, I know, we wouldn't speak like this, but people act like Kendrick Lamar was like the first jazz rap album to ever kind of be created. When it's like, listen to the Low End Theory, mate. Come on, but do your research. Like that's like the first time I think people really saw like literal jazz rap. Like, I'm not even that like, I don't know. It's just even then you talk about chemistry. Like Phife and Q-Tip had shit tons of chemistry, mate. Like that is a supreme duo, mate. Like I feel like it's an example of them being like greater than the sum of their parts. Like I feel like when they're together, they're just a lot better than when they're apart. Like even like it's just something about how they play off each other. It's just you can't recreate
They're a little like
that.
call and response between them on songs. Like
it's just that's just something that's just come from like, you can tell they were like legit friends outside of this stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just, you can't recreate that.
No.
Yeah, no. Also, Tribe is just they're just solely not solely, but they're largely responsible for a huge portion of the soundscape of what we have now and what we had in the 90s and the fact, like maybe not 2000s as much, but just kind of when people were kind of like wanted to sample stuff, it's them, like it's them guys, like
100%. I saw this hilarious video the other day. It made me a little bit upset too, but it was Q-Tip was showing off his like the news reporter interviewer who interviewed R. Kelly on the one where he was like sad and crying. She was interviewing Q-Tip, and he went and like showed her around his vinyl collection.
Yes, I've seen
The
that.
vinyl collection is immense.
Yeah.
It's he was so stressed out. She kept like walking around, just like pulling out random vinyls and being like, "Oh, what's this? What's this?" And you saw him like reaching for them, and like, "Don't touch them! Don't touch them!"
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, his collection must be mad.
Yeah. I mean, great producer as well. Great
Absolutely.
DJ. Like, that's the thing about like them. Like, they just kind of did it all. Like, they did everything. Like, I don't know. It's just one of those ones where it's like the level of because it's not like they had a lot of outside producers as well. So it's like not only are you delivering like really great right, because some people they kind of compensate one for the other. It's like with Q-Tip, a lot of people do like Five more than Q-Tip, which is for me. I've always liked Q-Tip more than Five. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Q-Tip, but yeah, to kind of do both at such a revolutionary level, you're always going to get my props for that, because who else was doing this? Obviously, Alicia Muhammad was obviously a large part of them because he was the DJ, but like, yeah, it's just their forward thinking in terms of like it's like it's weird because Q-Tip said the large part of what influenced him, which we'll get into later, because we got got a lot of decades to go through, boys. It was NWA, so it's like, how do you go from NWA, to low end theory? Like, what part of your mind is kind of connecting those two dots is really strange. You know what I mean? So there's that. The other ones to note, I don't want to make it 90s episodes, but a couple ones to note, obviously, Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang's fucking sick. But I think
Absolutely.
yeah, but I'm gonna peel back to that one later.
Okay. Do you consider them more 2000s then?
No, it's not that. But
okay.
It's something about rap groups that's what I kind of mention later on. So you had
Enter the Wu-Tang and Wu-Tang Forever.
Yeah, good records, man.
Double disc, inject it.
Yeah, Black Star and all that. But yeah, no, I think for the 90s, yeah, we got to. Fair enough. I think it's kind of an open and shut case, but we'll loop back to some of these other guys as well.
Yeah, and the Roots. Let's not.
Oh yeah, all the Roots. Yeah, the Roots.
2000s.
Yes.
Let's talk about them now.
Yeah, let's talk about it now, because it's a good transition. Yeah, Roots is like number 3, I'd say. Roots is pretty fucking sick, mate.
Yeah, like, I think just the idea of like having a hip hop group, like you'd think of like a rap group, but they're like a band.
That's fair. I don't really call them a rap group.
So
yeah,
I know they're just so complete. Like
it's like
yeah.
I mean, the first Roots record I listened to, which turned 22 this week, Things Fall Apart. And I first heard that, I was like, wow, this came out in 99. Like, what the fuck? Like, do you hear that? Like, whoa, like, that is immense. Like, yeah, no, Roots are amazing, man. I think with the Roots, they're really good. You can tell they're good students. That's what it is with the Roots. You can tell, like, they're really good students of the game. They weren't, I don't think they became revolutionary until they kind of, like, matured, like, 10 years later. But in terms of, like, the music they make, you can tell, like, they studied, like, the essence of what
like
it was to
intelligent.
Be yeah.
Do you know
what I mean? You can tell like Questlove and like Black Thought were just studious people in terms of music. So no, they always get my love. Yeah, shout out to Things Fall Apart. If you haven't listened to that record, I think it's a double disc as well. Really good albums. Turn 22. One of my best album. One of my favorites. Sorry, not my best. One of my favorite album covers of all time. Love that picture. I don't know why. It just speaks to me. But let's do the 2000s. And we'll look back to some of these guys. But who kind of stands out to you in the 2000s?
It's tough because the 2000s ain't no 90s for the rap.
Boomer John's coming out yet again.
It's true. Again. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Okay. I think when it comes to okay, so in the 2000s you had people like Black Eyed Peas who did really well. People loved them. You had NERD, Pharrell and the guys. People enjoyed them too. You had Cash Money.
Brother.
Cash.
Yeah, Cash
Money. Juvenile. People loved that. Back that ass up. People loved that song, mate. Come on. So G Unit. Come on, that was fucking huge, man. Like people used to literally buy the G Unit clothes. I can't remember what it's called now, but yeah, like. People love that shit. Like
they
that
did.
Was a huge,
that was
a huge movement in the
great
mid to late 2000s. So I think the best one. Oh, that's me. I think the best one. I think, and this is what I was gonna say about some of these groups, right? So when it comes to some of these groups, I feel like a lot of them get better once they split. So it's like sometimes
Interesting.
do you know what I mean? Like I feel like when it comes to Wu-Tang, I feel like I like the members of Wu-Tang more than Wu-Tang albums. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's the
Yeah,
same with some
that's
of
interesting.
I think it's the same with some of these people in the 2000s, where it's like, if you look at the some of their parts, like G Unit, like you got, The Game and 50 Cent. Of course, this is like some legendary shit. But
Yeah,
you put
that's
them
gonna work.
together.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if I love it as much as Get Rich or Try and Documentary. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's a problem with a lot of these ones in the 2000s. Like it has some big names. I'm actually gonna go a bit UK here, and I think this is literally just for cultural impact. For me, if I'm this is just obviously me looking back. I think you got to put Boy Better Know up there for
Yeah.
sure, because
Hugely
hugely
like
influential.
influential.
Like
And
on
just
a
like what's come from it as well.
yeah, like
Like you just see the strands go off.
It's just like if you look at the way it is now and all the people who have been influenced from that era, you would have thought like, how did you envision this? Like like the movement dubs and stuff like that. Like it's just insane. So I think Boy Better Know is definitely gonna be one of the most influential groups, maybe ever in the UK. Definitely ever in the UK. That's got to be up there with like So Solid Crew, which is also from the 2000s. But just kind of what's strung off of that. Like, yeah, it's very hard to think of. Like, even if you think of the G Unit, G Unit were huge. Because either G Unit or Boy Better Know, if I'm being honest. And that might sound crazy, but I legit think that's the case. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Like, not shitting on Junior at all. Like they were great, and it was like Tony Yayo and I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot. What was the other guy's name?
Well, you got this. I'm not taking out the what.
No, what's the fourth? What was the fourth member? 50 Cent, Game, Tony Yayo, Lloyd Banks. Sorry.
Oh yes, of course.
Arguably bigger than Tony Yayo.
Who went on to join Cash Money? So yeah.
And yeah, like they were all like at the height, like the early 2000s. Yeah, like huge group, some great songs. I think I put one on the Now and Then playlist the other day. But for me,
I mean, JME,
it's a tough one.
Skepta, Wiley.
It's
Gemma.
definitely top three.
Like
It's
that
definitely
is.
top three. Yeah. Definitely top three. I enjoy listening to like Little Brother as a group. I enjoy listening to like Hieroglyphics as well. Really like their kind of style of music.
Give the listeners more into, because Hieroglyphics is probably not someone people listen to too often.
I don't know really how to explain it. It's kind of like like People Under the Stairs as well. Like that kind of I don't think I'm gonna get this wrong, but like LA music, like LA hip hop in like the 2000s. At that point, there were lots of these types of groups that were like not quite jazz rap influenced, but like they weren't like like gangster rap. And I just a lot of interesting production, a lot of interesting beats that Hieroglyphics and Little Brother came up with. But yeah, I'd say it's a 3 at the top. Hieroglyphics, Little Brother, and Boy Better Know.
Actually, quick question, right? Yeah. I'm pretty sure they're a group, but would you put Gorillaz in there?
Ooh, I was listening to a lot of their albums the other week.
Gorillaz is pretty
I'm not
sick.
gonna hip hop.
Yeah,
I know they had a lot of hip hop artists on their tracks. Like they had Snoop on there. They had
MF Doom, your boy.
MF Doom.
Yeah,
on Plastic Beach.
Yeah, Demon Days that's definitely hip hop. Demon Days and Plastic Beach, that's hip hop. It's the experimental.
If we're going to call them a hip hop group, I would put them right up there.
Yeah, because even now, like if you look in, because Gorillaz dropped an album, I think it was last year. Like kind of came back, but I don't know, like. Yeah, I think you gotta give it to them. Like, they're definitely. Think about it, everyone knows Feel Good Inc. That is like a staple. Like that's probably in the library somewhere. Do you know what I mean? And you
maybe I was just thinking of them as like electro pop or like alternative.
No, that's hip hop, man. Rock. Like it's definitely crossover, but that's It definitely I get what you mean. It's definitely a crossover, but that's definitely hip hop as well, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, well, in that case, they've got to go right up there. Plastic Beach and Demon Days. Those two albums are
crazy.
Sick.
And like, if you think Feel Good Inc. is a good song, you need to listen to the whole fucking album. Like, those albums are crazy. Like, really, really good albums. I only caught the thing is with Gorillaz, I didn't know they were British. And again, this is like British pride right there. If you're a fan of British
Yeah.
music, this is like history right here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know they were
Like
British
De La
until...
Soul, Mos Def, Bobby
Yeah.
Womack, like so many people.
And
in
this is
there.
like what mid 2000s. Like who else was doing this?
2010, I think was Plastic Beach, but Demon Days
Yeah.
was like 2005 maybe.
Yeah.
Something like
So I
that,
think Demon Days. Let me just double check that. But yeah, Demon Days was quite early in the day, if I remember. So yeah, it's just crazy, like how, especially in the UK, like yeah, Demon Days was 2005. Like if you think in the UK, right, it wasn't like people were looking at the UK as like a source of influence. It was anything. It was people were getting big here and going off, fucking off to America trying to be big there. Whereas Gorillaz was always Gorillaz, right? And yeah, and all these massive artists was like, yeah, fuck it, like I'm gonna jump on. Like I don't know how. I don't know how that even occurred. So yeah, that's why I gotta give it to them. Like some of their albums have like stood the test of times. Like multiple classics, if I'm being honest. Under their belt. Obviously, I know it's like it's mainly Damon, isn't it? But it's still like, shout out to him, man. Virtual groups count too.
100%.
We're inclusive here at the Battle Collective.
Yeah, everyone's.
All right,
involved.
cool. So let's move on to the tens. And I think what's interesting as we're moving on, I think one thing people might realize is the pool of rap groups gets smaller and smaller as we go along the decade.
Before we move on, we mentioned like Black Eyed Peas and
yes.
and Nerd, NERD. Like, what... I'm going to start. I'm not going to ask you. I keep doing this. I have a problem with them. Like, just the music quality just, like, dropped off, obviously, towards the end. Like, I think the last two NERD albums I did not really enjoy. It was like...
okay, go on. Continue. Why is that?
What were they called?
You had the one, No One Ever Really Dies. That's the most recent one.
That's the most recent one.
Yeah.
Seeing Sounds.
Okay.
That was their third to last, and then they had Nothing, and then they had No One Ever Really Dies. But like, it was just that end of the noughties, like the 2008, 2010 was when they released those ones. I just didn't. They just weren't substantial for me. Like, the content didn't feel like. It just felt a bit haphazard. Didn't really make sense what they were saying. Like, a lot of the songs didn't really have messages for me. I don't know.
No, I kind of get you, but when it comes to NERD, do people remember them for their discographies or for their hits? Like when you think of So the Crew, you think of their hits. You don't think of anything else. I think it's the same thing here.
But then if you want to give like Pharrell his props, then I would say, cool, let's just look at Neptunes and say like, what a duo, like what a production duo. Like up there with like the Goats.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm happy to 100%.
But yeah, I think I don't know. I think with NERD, I think Pharrell, especially at that time, innit, what could Pharrell not do? Start a band, of course he can do that. Dual produce, yeah, he can do that. Like he just do everything, can't he? Like he's just what. Yeah, I think especially at that time, he was like the fucking Magneto of hip hop.
Yeah,
he just attracts everyone in it. So
it's like what jump on a song with Snoop Dogg. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like he just do everything. So I can't hate him too. But yeah, obviously we're talking in terms of like actual music quality. Yeah, I'm not gonna put NERD up there. I mean, Lemon was an alright song when it came back, but I can't say the album.
The album
was,
as a whole, no.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So it was alright. It's alright. But me personally, I've never been a huge fan of NERD, and I'm not just saying that as a 25-year-old man. Like even when I was young, like a child, when NERD were like on the TV, I can't say I loved them. I thought they were cool. I liked Pharrell. That's the thing. I liked Pharrell. I can't say I loved the rest of them. Saying Black Eyed Peas, one hit wonder to me personally. I know a lot of people say, yeah, they made good albums before Where's the Love, but I don't give a fuck about any of that shit. I don't care for Black Eyed Peas. Like, you know what I mean? Like they had that one.
Remember that song? Was it Don't Funk With My Heart?
Oh, yes, I remember that. And they also
was
had
that from Elefunk?
My humps. My humps.
My lumps.
My lumps. Yeah. You know what's so funny about that song? Yeah. When I was in primary school, we used to have like a dance class after school. And they used to do choreography to the song. And also looking
throw
back,
some moves for this.
It's like fucking 10-year-olds, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? Like 10, 11-year-olds. But that was like the thing back then. No one really cared. No one really questioned it. But yeah, it's like that song was so huge. And it's like to go from Where's the Love? You know what? Yeah, Black Eyed Peas were full of shit, mate. Like, you know what I mean? That's the problem. It's like You know, it's like when you go on the TV, right? You know, it's often you're probably missing a day of school or something like that, and you see all those adverts for like, if you just donate £3 a day, you'll change your boy's life, and that's how they did with the fucking Where's the Love in It? They kind of brought everyone in like, oh my gosh, they're so caring, and then they fucking drop my love. It's like, this is the same band. I can't. No integrity, mate. Get out of here. Get out of here.
And what was it? Don't Funk With My Heart. That song, I think it must have been in like a Happy Meal. They used to have great things in Happy Meals. I think they had this like quality's gone down. Sort out at McDonald's if you're listening. They had this like little device thing that played that one song.
Yes, I remember talking about.
And I had that. Yeah. I remember like cycling down my little road, up and down on my bike on my own, just like playing this song, feeling like the shit. Just like listening to that song, being like, yeah, damn. I don't know how old I was. Probably like 9 or 10.
No, I remember.
Early 2000s.
One company that definitely did not have a sustainability initiative was McDonald's, because the amount of plastic they used to give away on a fucking daily basis was immense. Like, yeah, like I remember those things. I never got one. I never actually had one of those. I used to have the ones when it comes to like Happy Meal toys. Let's go back. You know the ones where they had like the Hot Wheels, and when every time you buy a Happy Meal, you get like a car, and you get like a part of the track, and if you buy enough, you be able to build a whole track. I was so.
That's how they got you.
Yeah, that's how they got me, man. Like a Happy Meal. Yeah, do you know what I mean? It literally does what it says on the tin, isn't it? You can't be sad with a Happy Meal. Like, you just can't go wrong. Because if you don't like, if the food's shit, you're gonna get a toy. Like,
yeah.
You know, can't go
Everyone's
wrong.
a winner at the end of the day.
But yeah, fuck Black Eyed Peas, man. Like, even then, Where's the Love? Like, I can't look at that. It just feels like something you two would write and perform at like a relief concert. It just feels, yeah. So
don't get me wrong. Like, I enjoy these. Like, if I heard them come on, like, I'd be like, oh yeah, like, it's a great tune. No, some of the 100%. Some of the songs, it's like a throwback. I appreciate the nostalgia there.
Okay, cool.
But definitely, like, what was it? What was the name of that album? It was like green. It was like a green human on the front. It was like a green album.
Ask me about Black Eyed Peas albums.
THE or something.
No, you know, if you ask me about Black Eyed Peas albums, you're looking for the wrong guy, because I'm definitely not going to know.
That it was basically when they had all gone off and made like hugely successful solo careers and was still making albums together. It just didn't make sense, and that's where it just went a bit left field.
Oh yeah, the end.
The end. That was it.
Yeah,
man. And then what was it? The beginning, and then it was the beginning of the end at that point.
Yeah, I mean, ever since Fergie made London Bridge, what was that, Tower Bridge, I already knew I couldn't take this group seriously. I know that was her own solo song, but I just knew it was just full of shit. Like, that group was never gonna last, man. Whatever. But I mean, let's go to the tens.
And upwards.
Yeah.
To the tens.
So like I mentioned earlier, right? Like, the trend that you're kind of noticing as we're going through this episode is that hip hop groups just aren't formulating as much. Like 90s, you have like a shit ton of like hip hop groups, like a shit ton, like in the mainstream. And obviously now you look within the last 10 years, there isn't that many really to recall. Why do you think that is?
I think maybe financial incentives, probably just like the way music's changed, right? Like it's all about the singles. It's all about like the streaming hits, and like historically, I mean, solo artists, generally speaking, do better like commercially. I think if you look at it, like, so there's it feels like there's probably more of a chance as like a solo artist. I mean, there's a lot of politics, isn't there, in having a group. I don't know. I think those are probably the reasons that come to mind. What are you thinking the reasons would be? Anything else?
No, I kind of agree. Like, I think obviously the financial viability of becoming an artist is harder and harder as the years go by, especially because streaming. We'll have an episode on that, because fucking hell, bro. Like, especially with streaming now and like in the mix, it's like everything gets cut in half. Like, even having a million streams doesn't really mean shit. So imagine cutting that.
Now you've got to cut it 5 ways.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? 2 ways, 3 ways, 4 ways, 5 ways. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just not commercially viable to do that. Like, unless you have like a really hardcore fan base who are always going to buy like the LPs or the CDs and stuff like that, it's like, it doesn't really make sense to do so. So I feel like the ones that even the ones we have now, they all have, like, I feel like now it's expected to have solo efforts, whereas before, I don't think that was expectation. I don't think anyone looked at, like, Try, for example, and thought, yeah, can't wait for Q-Tip's albums. Like, that wasn't even a thought. And I don't think he had one until, like, 10 years after they formed. And I think they broke up after, do you know what I mean? I think, yeah, it was after they broke up and before they came back together. Like, shit like that. Even Andre, like, obviously he's never done it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, some people just feel like, you know, I think back then it was more of an integrity thing. Like, we came as a group. That's how it's going to be. And some people like, some people like wu-tang, they always had a plan to always break up, and they always knew Method Man would be the first one to break out. Like, apparently they really kind of strategically did that. But yeah, now it's like, why would I do that? Especially if I feel like I'm better, or there's no real or anything like. So now, if you want to work with someone, you can just do like a joint record and call it a day. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what's the chance that you're gonna be like a successful group? It's just not, it's just low. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
we'll do like a. Yeah, I think you're right. Like, collaboration albums seem to be more viable. Like Black Star, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Black Star. Yeah. Yeah.
Things like that.
Or What Time to Be Alive, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned Wu-Tang and like the going into it with a quote unquote like business plan of like, we know there's like an end date to this. So like, what are we looking to do? Like, how are we going to kind of like break out or whatever? Because I think I had an interview with ASAP Ferg, and he was talking about obviously the mob and like how they don't think of it as having like a select leader. They all just recognized that ASAP Rocky at that point was the most kind of commercially viable and was the most like packaged and like signed, sealed, delivered, like ready to go. So they like all kind of supported him, and like he kind of said it as like knocking down the door, and then the rest of them would follow him out. And I thought that was kind of an interesting way of looking at it. Like, they all were their own bosses, but they recognized in order to make it,
it's true. I mean,
support one guy.
Humble as well, no. It takes a lot of humility to do that. But I mean, since you mentioned, let's get into it. So obviously, ASAP Mob's one of the few kind of long-standing rap groups, and obviously I feel like now that you have like collectives more so than rap groups. Obviously, there was collectives in the 90s, don't get me wrong, like obviously Death Row and stuff like that. But I feel like it's more popular to be like, oh, you know, I'm Kendrick Lamar, I'm part of Black Hippie. We're never gonna have an album, but I'm just part of that collective. Do you know what I mean? Like, instead of like, oh, Black Hippie's actually an active group, they're actually gonna rap. Do you know what I mean? But they're
like, they come back every couple of years for like a cozy tapes.
Yeah,
like a bit like Spillage Village, right?
Yeah, Spillage Village as well. So also that's
like
Jid,
Earth Gang, and
Jid,
and
is there one other person?
Yeah, there's a female vocalist.
Oh, I didn't know that. Fair enough. I know she's part of the group. Is it Mariba? I feel like it might be Mariba.
You might be right.
I feel like I might
Jid's
be right.
6 Lack, Mariba, and Hollywood JB.
What, 6 Lack's part of them?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know it was part of that.
Yeah.
Are they new members? I literally thought it was them and Earth Gang.
I think Black's been a part of them for a while.
Man.
Yeah, no, he was on their Bez Like This too, which was their second.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, 5 years a vet.
Fair. Okay, cool. So yeah, like, you don't get that often, right? And even then, they've all kind of blown up in their own right. But let's kind of get into it. So I think when it comes to the 2010s, there's a very interesting mix of rap groups actually. So they have Odd Future, massive. You know, got to put them out there. They had a couple tapes. Brockhampton in more recent times.
Yeah.
They have like 5 albums under their belt. You know, it sounds crazy to say that. It's only like 4 years, but 5 albums under their belt. Yeah, we have Migos, huge. ASAP Mob, as we mentioned. Griselda coming up. And D Block Europe. That's also a group, John.
Shout out.
It is a group. It is a group. Do you know what I mean? So what? I guess
Run the Jewels.
Run the Jewels.
Do not forget Run the Jewels. Because I'm just going to say it right here. I think top of my list is probably Run the Jewels.
Yeah, I mean,
like, I can't fault any of their work.
They've never missed. I mean, not a day in their lives have they missed. They didn't. Yeah, so fair enough. And even their solo efforts, because sometimes to me, I feel like if your solo efforts and your collective efforts are good, it just adds more to it. But the reason why I can't fully agree with you yet, John, I
Go
know
on,
you
go on.
thought you had me. I do like
I
Run the
did.
Jewels,
That was a slam dunk.
but and again, it depends on the way you look at it. If you look at Odd Future before they split and Odd Future after they split,
Yeah.
Odd Future at the time, obviously no one could have predicted this, right? But you had in one group, by the way, you had Sid, Frank Ocean, Tyler the Creator, L Sweatshirt. Fucking hell! Like that is mad.
If we're looking at them from like, if we're including all of that in the scope of like best rap group, then yes, I'd agree.
That is.
But if we're talking about just music as a group, then that's a different story.
Yeah, it's true. That's what I'm saying.
I can't deny that. Like, in terms of what they've gone on to achieve is like unparalleled, especially in the last 15, 20 years. Like,
like they've all become. I've said this before. Like, it's like breaking up was the best thing they ever could have done because literally it feels like. Right after they all started hitting their peaks one by one. First it was Frank, then it was Earl, then it was Tyler. Like, if they all jumped on a song now, it's probably going to be incredible. Like, I genuinely believe that. But at the time, I could not stand Odd Future. I couldn't stand them. I thought, because you know what it is? I kind of just associated Odd Future fans with people who wore like Obey snapbacks and shit like that. I just thought it was like, you don't live in America, mate. Like, stop it. Like, you know, or like Supreme. Like, Supreme's still expensive because of these fucking guys. Like, fucking just destroyed the stock market for Supreme apparel. But, yeah. So I think at the time I couldn't catch on, but I can't even say like, oh, they were as good as they were back then. They weren't. So sometimes I think you have to look at if it's sometimes I guess your criteria, right, is you're looking at the group and what they did as a group, not the individual members. But then if we're doing that, John, then that means Outcast gets a slight because Andre 3000 has gone on to be amazing after Outcast in terms of guest features and stuff like that. Big Boy's been okay. It's been okay, but as a collective, after like Aquemini, it was like the Andre show. So that does dock some points if it literally was just Andre after like Aquemini, and you can't deny that.
What's the title of the episode, Toppy?
Best rap groups. I might even put like little
No. There's no terms and conditions apply. It's what it is. What it is. Best rap group.
Okay, cool. Fair enough. Yeah, okay.
I get you. But I think there's another group you mentioned, right? Like,
they're very influential Odd Future. That's what I'm trying to say. Very like, even if they're not saying they were good, like their tapes were that good, because they weren't. I listened to a couple of them. I listened to like OF2 and stuff like that. But so you can give them that. But in terms of influence, they were hugely influential. Like huge. So I think you got to give them that as well. Got to be in the conversation.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, we've got Griselda. Let's give them a shout out.
Yeah, especially coming. I think this is more their decade. But obviously, they'd come out. They have been around for a long time in terms of like dropping like collective tapes.
They really started like 2016, 2017.
Yeah,
and then like 2019 was when they started like releasing their solo tapes.
Yeah, and
really hit peaks.
And the Griselda's tape and What Was Machine Gun Do as well just kind of like literally broke the net. So I think I wouldn't put them over Migos though, because I feel that's one thing as well. Like, you are talking Run the Jewels. I know John is just disgusted right now. Think about it though. When Migos first came out, and this is like going back to their mixtape. So I think they had a mixtape called like Young Rich Niggas or something like that. Back in those days, they had songs like Chinatown and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. They were huge. Like, think about it. Migos was, I don't want to say before Young Thug. They might have been slightly before Young Thug.
What were they, like 2010?
Like 2010, 2011.
It was on that turn of the decade, wasn't it?
Yeah. So if you think of the sound from like the South as well, and then they went on to drop Culture. Culture's a good album, John. I'm giving it to them.
Yeah, I didn't say it wasn't.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, I'm building my case. All right, Culture's a good album. Culture 2 is not as good, but it's it's okay. It has some good hits.
Culture. Remember, Culture was in 2017.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So,
Culture's a bit. Yeah. So
7 years. Go on.
Yeah, I think everything they've been able to achieve as a collective as well, as Migos, not even to take away all the solo efforts, that is a good case, mate. Because I don't think you get. I don't want to say this because I don't know who came first before Young Thug or Migos. I'm gonna say it's Migos though, because it feels like they've been around longer. I don't think you get people like Young Thug. I don't think you get people like Lil Baby or Gunna or stuff like that if you didn't have me. Yeah, because they were the first mumble rappers essentially. People talk about mumble rappers. It was them guys before they kind of like hit their prime, and they've been hugely influential in terms of like, especially like American hip hop. So I feel like you gotta give it to them. Like in terms of like that conversation, like Run the Jewels is good. Don't get me wrong, they're always gonna be very extremely consistent.
That's a personal one though. That's not in terms of like
No, but I think you can add it though, because Run the Jewels is like,
yeah.
come on. I mean, Killer Mike and LP, it's a killer combination, mate. But but
No,
again,
I definitely agree. In terms of like culture change and like the impact on music, 100% Migos have been huge.
So I think the influence is huge, man. So I can see the argument for that. I think those are the main ones. Run the Jewels, but on Run the Jewels' influence is not huge. If anything, they're slightly underground. So you got Run the Jewels, Migos, and Odd Future, and I think it's out of those two, Odd Future and Migos, mate. And it's weird saying it out loud. But
because if we're talking about the latter of the two kind of metrics, then I mean, Odd Future just blows them out of the water. Like, let's not talk about it. It's some good talent, but I do agree in looking at like the decade as a whole, the tens. It's more about collectives and more about how can we achieve success together, and then have like a blueprint for success afterwards. Because even with Brockhampton, maybe less so with them. I know they're a big group of them, so obviously you've got the bigger characters, Kevin Abstract and the rest of them who have kind of like made solo efforts, but they do still seem like they've like hung on, and it's been, what is it, 6 years now, 5 years?
What, for Brockhampton?
Since
about 5 years, since on Saturation.
Yes.
Iridescence came out 2018. That was 3 years ago. But the Saturations came out 2017.
What was the one before that? The yellow cover. It was All American Trash.
Oh,
that was 5 years ago.
You're right. You're right.
So it'll be interesting to see where they go, because
I don't see that lasting, mate.
You don't?
No, I think it's obviously. I was a big fan of the Saturation kind of era, but too many cooks. Like how that's a question we haven't really spoken about, right? Like how big is too big? Obviously, maybe not for this episode. That's what I said. But yeah,
I thought I'd leave that.
Anyways, so I think with Brockhampton's got like, no joke, at least like 15, 16 members. And obviously, I know not all of them like single rap, but like, but even then, they don't call themselves like a hip hop group. They call themselves a boy band.
Yeah, the world's greatest boy band.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So
it's
a joke, but there's kind of some truth to that in it, because a lot of them don't rap. So obviously a lot of them do, but even their albums as of recent, I can't say they're hip. Like Ginger is not rooted in hip hop, I don't think. Some of it is, but it just seems like they're more pop. For like, they're more just like crossover. We're gonna try a bunch of things, and do you know what I mean? But I think what they did was really special in terms of Saturation that year. That was, I know some people might shit on it and it might not be your flavor, but to drop, for me, that level of quality back to back to back in 1 year,
3P.
I mean, mate, that is goated. That is goated. Like, I don't know anyone else who has done that. Even we speak about Freddie Gibbs all the time doing all these collaborations. He hasn't done that. Obviously, he's not in your group. But but like 3 in 1 year. 1 year. And they're like, good songs.
That's Alchemist level of output. Like, that's crazy.
And the thing is, it's not even like they're pre-recorded songs. Some of the songs are talking about things that have happened in between albums and stuff like that. Like, I mean, that is a very rare moment in history. It's very impressive. Like, to me, none of them are shit. Like, if anything, I think they got better each time. Like, so it's like crazy stuff. So, and obviously those 3 Saturation albums are definitely like hip hop albums. So I'll give them that. So I think if you wanted to make a case for them, just in terms of like that special moment, because I don't think anyone has that. No one has that sort of uniqueness that they had. Then fair, but
quick question: favorite Brockhampton? album?
Ooh.
Go quickly. Snap.
I think
Comes to mind.
Saturation 2. If I'm just
Yes.
chilling, Saturation 3.
I would have said Saturation 2.
Yeah. Because Saturation 2's just got the hits, man. Like,
It
yeah,
does.
it's got the
I
fucking
remember
bangers.
making like a, what was it, like a playlist of like 20 songs, and like, you know, like a third of them were all Saturation 2. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, it's because, yeah, it's just, oh, it's just, it's the most
It's good
aggressive
stuff.
one. Yeah. It's really good. Like, don't get me wrong, the other two are good, but number two, in terms of like traditional hip hop, it's, oh man, hits it. Junkie, Swamp, oh gosh, so many good songs. I might even listen to this after the show, man. Fucking hell, like, it's just, yeah, like, I don't know, people might not put that in that conversation, but I do think for what they did, that's definitely something to note. I don't know. I mean, do you?
You made an interesting point of like, wait, was that another point on Brocktown?
No.
Go ahead.
Go
I was
ahead.
going to say, yeah, you made an interesting point about how many's too many for a group, and like, is it a collective now? Like, I think just looking through history and looking through the kind of like goats of the decade that we talked about, like 3 or 4 seems to be the ideal,
Sweet
right?
spot.
Like,
yeah,
is where it kind of, you can pool everyone's kind of like creativity and strengths, and no one kind of gets left out. Because I think when you get to like rap groups where you can't name all of the members, it's probably too many.
Because by nature, some of them gonna be fucking shit, mate. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like football teams. You can't act like all of them are good. Like, or even that, right? Because the only time, even though we're hyping up Odd Future, right? Not all of them were fucking sick. I don't care for metal hype and shit like that. Like, you know, come if you want. But the only time where all the members have been good and it's been a massive group is probably Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
That's the only case, like, ever.
And there was what, like 9, 10 of them, 9 of them?
Yeah, that's the only time. There's not a single other group you can bring to me and be like, every single one of them sick. Nope, it's never happened outside of Wu-Tang. So I think, yeah, it's just either that, or you get these stupid scenarios where like every song's like 5 minutes long because everyone needs to get like a verse in. It's just exhausted as hell. Like, it's just, I don't like shit like that at all. So yeah, I think keeping it shorter just makes sense, because either that, or you're just gonna have some people who just don't get to go on songs, and maybe it's a beat they really like, and that's gonna build some sort of like tension as well. So like, but like, you have like three for me, man. Like 3 is like, 4 is maybe too much. I don't need 4 because you know what it is, because in a song you don't really have more than 3 verses. You know, hip hop's known for the third verse, right? 4 verses isn't really commonly done. So maybe if you had like 3 people, like a producer or a DJ, that's fair. But in terms of 3 people who are actively saying stuff on a song, it's got to be 3. It's just got to be 3. Can't be more than 3.
I agree. Like the collective, it feels, once you get too many members, it's gonna start feeling like a Dreamville documentary. Like, absolute chaos.
You're not a fan of that?
I enjoyed the documentary and I thought it was a really cool concept, but at the same time, my anxiety levels were just raising. Just like looking at people running in and out of rooms and being like, "Oh, I'll have a bit of this song. I'll have a bit of this." Cool concept, visually interesting, but probably in reality a bit of a mess.
You know what? It's funny that you mentioned that. I'm gonna pull you up, but I'll get there in a second. It's funny you mentioned it because I'm gonna get to it. But yeah, it's funny we actually did not mention Dreamville, and Dreamville are a legitimate group. To be fair, they've dropped 3 albums. Obviously had some members along the way. But even with those guys, like, the third one's like it's like an Ed Sheeran collabs album, isn't it? Like, it's just everyone's kind of jumping in. But yeah, just kind of go back to that. So I don't know if I'd include them, because I can't say I like any of the Revenge of the Dreamers. And just to pull you up, when the Revenge of the Dreamers 3 came out, I remember you were a big fan, because I remember people were like, all the songs are good. I'm like, I
didn't say I didn't enjoy it. I said it looks chaos. Like, it looks like a chaotic thing to do. I think
it was a bit chaos, mate. Like, the fact that, like,
there's some good songs on there.
There's some good songs, but it's not a Dreamville record if you're gonna fucking feature all these people who are just from South America, like southern part of the USA. Let's not get mixed up. There are no people speaking Spanish in this album. But like, do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really make sense, because even like we spoke about, they have like bloody Deontay Hitchcock on there. They have Saint Beauty on there. They have Baby Rose on there. None of these people are part of fucking Dreamville. They had the Baby on there. Like, do you know what I mean? They had T.I. there. Like, how much of Dreamville am I actually getting? There wasn't actually a lot. And I think if you're gonna set it as an album, then set it as an album. Like, there's so many fucking songs here as well. And then they dropped the deluxe. Like, Saab and Sminos is here a few times as well. Like, it's just a collaboration. Like, I don't know.
There's even like a tiny little like Kendrick Lamar like uncredited feature as well.
Exactly, yeah, at the start. Like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? It just seems like, yeah, it seems like their version of like the Black Panther album.
But again, I don't. When I listen to it, I enjoy it. I think there are some great songs.
No, for sure, for sure.
But I don't think of them as. I don't look at them the same way. I don't like be like, oh, Dreamville, the group are dropping. I'm like, oh, we're going to get like a best of edition. But we're going to get a lot of like singularly good tracks. Yeah, I don't know. But I wouldn't have been listing them in like top groups of the tens.
No. To me, I think the tens is it's kind of which way you wanna put it, because I feel like even though maybe album for album they're not really consistent, I think there's a lot of groups that are just so influential that we've spoken about. Obviously, like ASAP Mob, Odds Future, fucking hell. What was the last one?
Brockhampton.
Jesus. No, it wasn't Brockhampton.
Oh, top 3 of the tens.
Yeah. No, that's fine. No, we spoke about. That's the one. Fuck, I don't know how I just blanked. But yeah, Migos. But yeah, so yeah, I think that's really it. I have to say on that one. Do you have anything else said?
No, I think we've got there's some good quality stuff. A lot of like quality groups that didn't make it, or like we didn't even have time to talk about.
Of course.
De La Soul, like all the jazz rap groups of the mid to late 90s. Like, I mean, De La Soul is still making music. Good band.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all right. That's another episode. For sure. A lot of great music, and it's fun as well that you can like track the newer groups, like the influence of the groups we were talking about, and then like the next decade, like the best group the next decade are like kind of influenced by the
one group. I'm just gonna slide this in. Okay, now you just remember, just kind of reminds me because of influence. Pro Era, massively influenced by the 90s as well, and obviously that consists of like Joey Badass, Steez, obviously Capital C's, who's sadly passed away.
CJ Fly,
I really like that guy. There's one more that I really like. They kind of dropped a joint tape. Oh, there's a few guys there. The few guys there that are actually competent rappers as well, and they dropped a record in 2012, Peep the Apocalypse, which was really fucking good. Really, really, really good. But obviously in terms of influence, they're not in this conversation, but just something you mentioned in terms of influence, like, yeah, you can kind of see, like, the people who kind of are staying in hip-hop groups, you can see the influence from previous hip-hop groups. And I think that's kind of nice to see. As you said, like, we didn't speak about Fugees much. You know, obviously they're pretty decent.
I had them written down, didn't even mention them. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but I mean, one good album. They had one. That's a 50% win rate. You know, Public Enemy. We didn't speak about them too much. Obviously, Salt-n-Pepa.
Mobb Deep.
Yeah, Mobb Deep. Like, you know, it's just shout out to the
shout out Salt-n-Pepa. Come on. Shout
out to the ladies. Come
on. Female rap.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. I mean, even now, actually, yeah. And obviously, if we're looking forward, let's just do that for a quick second. We're looking forward. Who do you think will be like the rap groups to look at this decade? Obviously, speaking about female artists, there's City Girls, and they are a rap group, John. They are a rap group. So, yeah. I'm just baiting you. Yeah. So you have like City Girls. You have, you know, D Block are still active. Do you think there'll be any rap groups right now, do you think are gonna like really hit their stride coming to the next decade, or you think it's gonna be like people you haven't seen much of yet?
I think the latter. I think the trend that we've seen from like the noughties into the tens, I think that's probably going to continue. Like again, like the collectives more than anything, or the kind of the groups that work for a couple of years and then they just go off straight into solo careers. Like Griselda, I mean, they were only a few years in the limelight together before they, you know, kind of doing their own thing. So
yeah, it feels like the lifespan of the group is just short, and maybe that'll be a whole different episode. Yeah, I feel like that'll be a whole different episode of why that is. But yeah, and I get what you mean. I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's good. I do fear that I feel like a hip hop group is going to be like a boy band. It's just going to be extinct. I feel like the hip hop group will become extinct. It just doesn't make
Let's
sense
hope
anymore.
not, because it's a great thing.
It's a great thing, but then
there is enough music still to listen to if we want to take
yeah,
a trip down memory
but
lane.
then yeah, but I mean they gotta keep the lights on in it. So it's just, I mean, even I think No Name Saab and Smino were meant to drop like a collaborative record, which just never came. That would have been pretty amazing. But yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Like you split in three ways off like streams, which pay like 0.0001 of like a penny. Like
And then splitting three ways from like the three subsidiary labels you're underneath.
oh
Like,
yeah, oh
you're
they're
getting
all
pennies.
like
You're getting
quote
pennies.
unquote independent, yeah. But you know
Yeah.
they all have like publishing deals and shit like that. So it's like yeah, it's just not even worth it. Like it's a shame, but yeah, it's like it's not worth it, man. And you know we know a little bit, John. Like artists and their PRs, man. Like nothing gets through. It's like everything needs to be signed off. Like nothing goes through them. So. Oh man, yeah, I just don't see it happening. It'd be nice for the culture, maybe people like young people coming up. You also have obviously shout out to Core Socials for this, but you know the 98s, which their team again they seem more of a collective. I think they had like they did drop a tape actually. Obviously that's like Unknown T, V9 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like there's still that, but again, like how long is that gonna last? Like are they gonna be like creating albums for the next 5 years? Probably not. Like they're probably just gonna get really famous as they are now and just go off and do their own thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a shame.
I agree. Are we, before we finish this kind of segment, are we thinking of Mad Villain as just a one-time duo, or are we going to call them a little group?
I feel like a group gotta have more than one record.
Yeah, cool. Because I didn't want to miss that out.
Yeah, no, you gotta have more than one record. I mean, even that, if you just speak about that, if you speak about like Freddie Gibbs and Madlib, but even then, I wouldn't put them in that conversation. But yeah, I think you gotta have a few albums under your belt for me. Okay, you are actually a group. You are actually come together.
It's got to be more than just a collaboration album. Yeah.
Yeah. But then this is what's happening nowadays. Collaboration's like the name of the game. Like, oh yeah, we like each other. Oh, there's so much energy in the studio. We should just drop a tape, and then it just. And sometimes it's fair, but I like groups sometimes. Like, oh, like especially like if there's chemistry between the two as well. Yeah. Like I'm a fan of that, but
I'm not going to name any names, but a lot of these energy that turns into an album could just be. It's like EPs. People like that could have just been an email.
Yeah,
an email.
Yeah.
It's like that album was the Zoom call, and it could have just been a single.
Yeah,
we didn't need 50 minutes. But anyway,
could have been an EP. I mean, like Watch the Throne. Watch the Throne could have been an EP. What a Time to Be Alive was actually a decent album. I can't hate on that too much. You know, sometimes they work. Sometimes they do work, John. Come on, they do.
Yeah, we'll give it some.
Whatever.
Yeah, that kind of. Yeah, if you've been listening, you're like, John and Tots, they just do not get it. So and so is the best.
What's your favorite
the 90s, the
past few decades? Yeah, let us know. Like, you know, what's your favorite in the 2010s, the 2000s?
Yeah.
Did we miss
give us, if you're on Twitter, give us a tweet at TVC Pod. If you're on Instagram, you can find us on the Vinyl Collective Pod. We're obviously on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcast. We're on YouTube. We're everywhere. We're on Facebook. You know, if you want to leave a post on our wall, you can do that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
let's all of that stuff.
Talking about kind of, you know, we've moved from the 90s all the way to the present day. Now and then, that's what we're all about here.
Oh yes,
Collective.
Of course.
So trying to kick us off with a throwback song and a new song.
Oy.
I can start us off if you want.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I have a couple in my mind. I just want to see if I'm going to put them on, but cool. Go ahead.
All right. To jump the gun, because I have a feeling we both want to put a Ghetts song in there. I'm going to put Hot Out. That's my new song by Ghetts. Can't get enough. Can't get enough of the beat on that song.
That song just makes you want to just dance. Like it's just that West Coast feel to it. Like it's just It's like look at the motherfucking wheels. Like I don't know. I like all the little elements to that song. Like
yeah, it works so well. Okay, throwback song. I think I'm gonna go for a Wu-Tang Clan song. Impossible. It's one of my favourite Wu-Tang songs. Yeah.
Okay, my now song is Think About You Notion Mix by Tiana Major 9. Shout out to Miss Major.
Loving the Tiana Major at the moment. Yeah.
Look, if you're a good UK singer, I'm in your corner. Shout out
Hmm.
to you. Um, my then song. Ooh, there's been a lot of songs I've been listening to back in the day. I'm gonna put. There's so many good then songs.
We've
I'm gonna put.
mentioned so many good kind of like
Yeah,
groups as well today.
I'm gonna put. I'm gonna put CR by Nines. I do like that song. I'm gonna put
Okay,
CR. So yeah.
that's great.
Yeah, that closes out. Again, you can find our Now and Then playlist on Spotify. If you were an avid listener, you would see that, last week you had Tandy on. Good guess, Shout out to her. No, she's all right. She's all right. Yeah, you
Great
had that
guess.
Jada,
Yeah,
that Jada Smith song that she said was one of the best songs ever. You know what I realized, John? Like, people just feel like once they're here, right, they have to close out with something just so hyperbolic. Like, it's like, time to make your mark. Fucking hell, let's go. So we had
it's
like
like
Harry, just with a young fun comment. And then Junior was the only one who just kind of was like, yeah, thanks guys. See you later. Do you know what I mean? Everyone else had to like leave with a bang.
they're like, here are my socials, and also
And also, it's like the best ever. Like, I was like,
yeah,
fucking hell. Like, we didn't even get time to unpack that. Why did you mention this earlier? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, you can find her song. She added the Jada Smith song 90. Apparently, if you know, you know. Yeah, all the other songs from all the other guests is there. A quick shout out to our Valentine's playlist. It needs to be the food of love. If you haven't checked it out already, go and check it out. It's actually pretty banging playlist.
yeah, we
You
made
know,
it in collaboration with Junior
yeah,
from the Untitled podcast, who was on a few weeks back.
yeah.
And yeah, before we finish, we failed to talk about our spotlight artists, so we'll just give like a minute or two to Hitchcock now.
Oh.
We didn't do that at the beginning. We do have a thing called Spotlight Series, which
Oh my god!
until today, 19 weeks in a row, we talked about at the beginning. But yeah,
Oh
we had him
man!
as our
Episode
Spotlight
20,
artist this
something
week.
different. That's our. This episode's gonna be fucking long, bro. I didn't even. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Let's quickly
Cool.
mention him.
No. Let's give him his just dues because I think he's actually pretty sick. So, Deontay Hitchcock, Atlanta rapper, coming up.
Mhm.
He's had a few EPs here, and he had a lot of EPs before he kind of got
Yeah.
signed. No, after he got signed, sorry. I think he's trying to build up towards the album. So he's an Atlanta rapper. If you haven't heard of him, he's featured with Jid. I know a lot of you guys out there like Jid. If that doesn't sell you, he's got worked with Miguel. Oh, Miguel.
That doesn't sell you. I don't know what's wrong with you. But
Yeah,
anyway, go on.
But yeah, and also Saint Beauty, who we featured as our spotlight artist last week. Initial thoughts on him. I'll go first. Since we fucking forgot again. Yeah, really, I think he's really good. I think what's so interesting about rappers that never seems to compute in my brain is like, okay, so you've achieved something you've dreamed for your whole life. You've come into serious wealth, but then you're rapping about the most depressing shit known to man. It's like, what's going on? Like, are you ever going to talk about how happy you are to be in this position? Like, it's really strange, but he does that here. So he literally has a song called I Got Money Now, and it's a fun song. I think it was one of the songs we featured on our Instagram post and our Facebook. It's not Facebook. We don't post on Facebook. Twitter post. And it sounds like a silly song, but I think the reason why I want to kind of start off with that and continue the discussion is the reason why I think it's so interesting because a lot of rappers don't do that. A lot of rappers, like, it feels like they make it, but they still want to have the aesthetic as if they're from the hood or they're still grinding to where they are. When it's like, no, like, I've made it. I am happy I've made it. I've got money. I can look after my family and all of that. So I think it's small songs like that I appreciate. And yeah, the boy can rap, man. The boy can rap. So yeah, what are your initial thoughts on Deontay?
No, I definitely agree with that. I think it's that idea of like taking a moment to go, right, like made it, like this is cool, like I'm happy with what I've accomplished.
Getting bitches, all that good stuff. Yeah.
All,
That's what he says.
The perks. No, don't look at me like that. Yeah. All the perks of success. Yeah, no, I think he's a quality artist. I mean, coming from Atlanta, like you've got that whole
collective,
like kind of storied, like kind of like history behind you, and that like Atlanta is such like a close knit community,
especially right now,
rappers and artists, especially right now. That it feels like, yeah, like they're all just gonna like pull each other up and like kind of bring each other up with them.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Which is obviously great for like I mean, he's been in the game for ages. Like he's been making music for ages, but like he's making it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can kind of see him kind of going bigger and better.
Yeah. And I think the way
him.
No, I think the way he kind of talks about kind of the things that kind of surround him coming up. So I'm not gonna say this is the album he always wants to make. It doesn't give me that vibe to it, but he is kind of documenting like, oh yeah, like, you know, we were going through this, we're going through that, and it's not like every song was like we were struggling and now we made it. It's like some songs like, you know, it's just like talk about some of the things he's facing right now. Like obviously a lot of women wanting money from him and you know stuff like that. But also I think also trying to struggle. It's like the whole reconciliation of trying not to forget where you came from as well. It's really interesting. And again, really short album. Really short album. I think it's like 35 minutes, 10 songs. That's like my thing. That's like the sweet spot. Like
you
in and out. Not wasting time. It's got a deluxe. That's what I'm saying. Like if you want to add more songs, have a fucking deluxe, mate. So he dropped his deluxe. His album's called Better. Definitely check that out. I think he is someone. Don't get me wrong. He's not Jid. Let's relax. He's not Jid. He is not Jid. But I think if we're talking about rappers who are going to be more relevant as the years go by, I would definitely put him in that category, because why would I? I think the way it is, it's like if we're talking about Southern rappers, because this is where I'm going to see it, right? If you're talking about Southern rappers, like, yeah, I think he's just one of the better ones. I think after Jid, I wouldn't put the Baby there. I think him. I think he's on like an Earth Gang level. I'm surprised he's been quiet for this long. To be honest, I'm surprised like people haven't really picked up on him. But again, outside is closed, so it's not like he can come to London, do a little concert, and people can kind of pick up buzz from there. You just kind of, if you know kind of thing. But I think his mixture of comedy and like more, what's the word, introspective rhymes is nice. It gives me very Chance the Rapper type of vibes, but without the religious undertones. To be honest.
Any chance for a Chance rap?
No, I'm not rapping. I'm just saying it's his choice.
But yeah, check his 3 songs out. We recommend 3 songs every single week. So we put 3 of them on our Spotlight Series playlist, which is on Spotify. And give that a follow. Let us know. We'll have a new one for you next Monday.
Do you know what I'm going to do?
Every week.
I'm going to run a poll on Twitter, and I'm just going to say, do you like Apple Music that much, and should we create a playlist? If it gets enough votes, we'll consider it. I'll do that, because people have messaged me like, oh, you're not going to make one on Apple Music. I'm like, who the fuck uses that anymore, mate? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you can actually listen to the playlist for free on Spotify. Like, why aren't you doing that? Like, it's free. Like, it can't get better than that. But some people just like Apple Music, don't they? So, I'll throw a poll in.
Bondage.
Maybe tonight, actually. I just feel like, should we make an Apple playlist? And if it gets enough likes, then I'll consider it. If not, then fuck off. It's never happening. But
thanks for tuning in. That's
episode 20. Come on.
Fantastic.
I mean, the next few episodes are gonna be pretty fucking sick. So
it's got some good stuff coming up.
Yeah, man. So stay tuned, man. Until next week. So fuck it. If you've made it this far, shout out to you, mate. So
All right.
Cool. Let's wrap up.